to another Train2Game production with Daniel Palmer.
My name is Raphel, Colantonio. I'm the president and co-creative director on Dishonoured, and Harvey Smith is usually with me for these interviews, and is the other co-creative director.
So what are the main game design elements behind Dishonoured?
Well, a lot is about, in terms of like purely game design philosophy, a lot of it is about letting the player define his play style. Like, we give him a lot of tools, mobility, powers, whatever tools we give them, gadgets, and then it's about like letting the simulations, like we have all those systems like the AIs that have their own mind and like the patrols, and we set up this missions with their own space of possibilities, and then it's really up to the player how he wants to do that. That is what we like, the sandbox kind of gameplay, sandbox assassination.
I noticed that there was a chaos. Every time you killed someone, it said, you killed 4 guards, there's chaos. I think chaos makes a given area more unreliable. How does the chaos affect the actual game itself?
Yeah, so through the entire game, actually, we track how sloppy is the player, like how brutal he is, like if he kills innocent people, or if he doesn't hide bodies are detected, etc., etc. And that raises the chaos, and then chaos has got I've got some consequences later in the game. Some of your allies might betray you if your chaos is too high, or some of them might be disappointed because you're not chaotic enough, or whatever. So we kind of drive some of the outcomes. Like, some of it is like purely aesthetics, like now there are more rats in the streets, and some of them are like story based, like some guy actually now betrays you or whatever.
What engine are you using, by the way? It looks stunning. I mean, the actual art style, the design style, it was very beautiful to
Thank you.
see. I mean, you're saying it's pre-alpha, but what engine are you using?
It is actually a modified version of Unreal 3.
Okay. Yeah. I've never seen it looking so good. It was fantastic.
Thank you.
It's an eclectic mix as well. I mean, it looked a bit of a little bit Assassin's Creed, a little bit Bioshock, a little bit Fallout, because I say that because of the. Like you said, you give the players a lot of options.
Right.
But how do you find that you stop the players from breaking the game?
You don't at first, in terms of that's how we like to do it in terms of game design. Like, we design all our systems and the powers of the players so that they are out of context. Like, they really they work in a blind way. Like, we don't care where they are. It's not like protected or anything. And then we let the systems spill over each other and create some problems, and some of those problems we fix. Some of those problems are actually features. Suddenly you realize that by combining this thing with that thing, you get that other cool thing, and you just go like, why? We should not fix it. We should instead support it. Uh-huh. And so it's a lot of it is just we know where we go 60-70%, and then we find out about the possibilities as we develop it.
And the abilities that were in the demo, we saw a blink, we saw the character could jump high, we could see that he could go inside of a rat, take control of the rat, and then reintegrate himself from the rat again. I mean, are these... So these abilities, obviously you don't start with them now.
No, you don't start with them, yeah.
How does that progression go through? How are you rewarded with these? I take it... How do you come by these abilities? And
so we haven't talked too much about it yet, but there's a character called the Outsider who's your link to the supernatural world, and he's not in the demo, and we haven't shown how he looks or whatever. But he, along the course of the game, you collect some runes. It was a little, demo was really fast, but at some point there are some runes, and those runes are actually part of the economy of how you upgrade your powers. So you can actually spend some runes.
Fantastic.
The game has a very distinctive art and animation style. What made you decide on that particular style of art?
We had to start somewhere. We thought London was an interesting thing, and so we actually studied London historical when we really started, and because it has this architecture, it's grounded, etc. And then it was very organic. Then it was instead of staying historical, then I did layers, and then it was a mix of influenced by the gameplay, influenced by the story, influenced by the artists themselves, which themselves then influenced the gameplay based on what kind of technology they came up with. The whale oil thing is suddenly give us ideas for other things. So it's very organic at the end of it.
And almost like steampunk in places as well.
It is a little bit. We avoid that word specifically because I think in most people's minds, steampunk is very it's brass and quartz
so
and stuff.
Almost, because it's still a very bright environment that you're seeing it. one thing, how long has this game been in development? Because up until recently, I've not heard much on Dishonored.
Yeah, we were in stealth mode for about 2.5 years.
Okay, because it looked relatively feature complete, and just the depth of the choices that the player could make, it seemed like something that would take a long time to give those players those options. You can say, here's the lawyer in this room, but there's all these different ways.
Yeah, there's tons of ways. Like, we couldn't show all of them, show one.
Right.
Thank you.
One more from me.
Okay.
What advice would you give to people looking to get into the games industry?
They can do mods, or they can start as playtesters. If they don't, if they have a known skill, great artist or great programmer, then that's easy. But if what they want is become a game designer or producer, which are there's no real roadmap for it. There are a few schools, but not as defined. Then I would go, I would do modding or tester.
And what was your route?
I actually started as my story is really funny because I did I filed a competition on a French magazine called Joystick, which was to win a trip to test Ultima 8. That was in '93 or something, and I sent the competition. And then EA called me and said, "Hey, actually, you haven't earned the trip because there was no trip to win. But how about a job to be our first customer support employee in France, because they were actually creating the branch in France." And so I became employee number 7th or 8th, and I was doing IT, customer support, tester, QA, whatever. So that's how it worked for me. But
great, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
For more information, www.train2game.com.